3D Guitar Acrylic Nail Art Tutorial by Hotpinkzebrapolish.
Hi guys, in today's video I'm going to show you a cute yet pretty simple little 3D guitar, and the guitar does come up off the nail, so it's not necessarily practical but still very, very cute. If you love instruments and want to see a very extreme 3D violin that I did a couple years ago, that is still one of my favorite videos. I highly recommend watching that one, and I'll put a link to it in the description box below, so check that out, and I will see you next time. Bye!
So I'm going to begin with a layer of white acrylic just to create a nice clean base. Plus, since I have the rainbow sheet music going across it, that white background is going to make all of those colors just that much brighter and that much more vivid and intense. So after I have my layer of white on, I'm going to apply a layer of clear acrylic. This time it's not necessarily for strength as much as it gives it kind of a floaty effect to the music, because especially in person, you can see that the music is up off the background color. So I'm going to file the nail into shape with my e-file, starting out with a coarse bit to remove any bulk, going over the whole thing, and then switching to a much finer bit just to smooth out the surface texture and make sure that it is really easy to paint on top of, since, like I said, we will be painting some sheet music, and those nice thin lines need a base that is smooth to do. So now, with acrylic paint and a rainbow of colors, I'm going to be painting the sheet music. So I'm going to start with red and just paint kind of a softly wavy line down the nail at an angle. After the red is orange, and you guys get the picture with the rainbow. The one thing I would like to mention with this is, as you're painting that, try to keep in mind the thickness of the lines that you're using and try to keep that kind of swirl the same. As you can see, mine isn't necessarily perfectly smooth, and it doesn't need to be. In fact, if you want to, one thing that would be kind of a nice visual element is that you can have them thicker at one end and then thin down at the other side of where the sheet music is, or something like that, just to give it a bit more movement. So now I'm going to be doing the rest of the details to my sheet music with black acrylic paint. So the black is going to also stand up really nicely against that rainbow. So it might be tempting to say pick your favorite color from the rainbow and do all of the music notes with that color, but I would try to stick with just going black and white because they'll actually show up really well. And if you want to, you can do the actual notes of your favorite song, or you can just do them completely random like me. When I'm finished, I applied a layer of gel sealer, and then I'm going to start sculpting my guitar. So I'm going to begin by sculpting the neck of the guitar with some brown acrylic, and this is on a nail form backing. So I'm going to lay that brown acrylic down and then gently press it in from side to side with my brush. And as I'm pressing it in from side to side and the acrylic begins to cure, all of a sudden you'll notice that it really starts to hold its shape. In the beginning, it's just going to you're going to press it in, it's going to flow right back to where it was. But after maybe 30 seconds or so, and the acrylic has just begun to really polymerize and hold its shape, you should be able to get it to exactly how you want it. And now I'm going to sculpt the body of my guitar with the exact same color of brown acrylic. And this is the same process with the body of the guitar. It's going to probably kind of give you a little bit of problems in the beginning, but then it'll suddenly start holding its shape. And that should be easy to manipulate pretty quickly, since it's not like the neck of the guitar where you want it to be a really straight line. Now for me, my guitar's body wasn't thick enough the first time around, so I'm going to add a second layer of acrylic to it to give it a bit more thickness, so it'll have a little bit more 3D visual quality to it. So that second layer, flatten that out with the belly of my brush so that I've got some nice edges on it. And then with a lighter shade of brown or tan acrylic, I'm going to be sculpting the top. So just a very nice thin layer of that color over the top of the guitar, leaving a visual border around the outside with the darker color. Press that out, get it as close to the edge as I can while leaving it, so you can see that dark almost outline around it. And then using a dotting tool, I'm going to carve out the sound hole on the guitar, blend out some of those lines because it'll pick up a little bit of acrylic and make the lip of that hole a little less smooth. Smooth out whatever needs to be. Add a little bit of more of that tan acrylic wherever it's needed. And then with black, I'm going to be sculpting the bridge of the guitar, so that's right below the sound hole, just like so. And as you can see, a little bit of my black kind of bled onto my tan acrylic. If you wet your brush with some monomer, it should clean that up pretty easy. Then I'm going to glue the neck of the guitar to the body. And then after that's done, I'm just going to flip that guitar over and then hold that in place while I put some clear acrylic down the neck of the guitar. Since it's so thin, I would really recommend applying that clear acrylic so that it is a little less delicate. And if you do happen to wear this design, it's not going to break on you within the first 5 minutes. So now that I have all of that done, I'm going to glue some strings in place on my guitar. Now I'm only going to use, I believe I did 3 strings. If you want to do more strings, you're probably going to need to sculpt a bigger guitar just because there isn't the space for it. And I'm going to glue those 3 down, and I first started gluing them right at the end of the neck of the guitar, just kind of gluing them in place, keeping them as evenly spaced as possible. And then I'm going to gently pull them after I trim off the extra, but I'm going to gently pull them and then glue them to the bridge. And as you're pulling them, you're going to try to keep them taut, but don't pull them too hard, because if you pull on them too much, that glue may loosen and let go of the strings. So you don't want to overdo it. So I just take a tweezers is usually my preferred method, and just gently pull and stretch them down until they really take hold. If you don't pull them at least a little bit taut, then they're going to have a wrinkled look to them, and they're going to look like they're not tight when you want them to be nice and snug. So it's kind of a balance between pulling them too tight and having the glue loosen, or not pulling them tight enough and having it look a little bit funny. So when you're doing it, you may just have to bear in mind you may get to re-glue a couple strings if necessary. After that's done, I'm going to glue the guitar to the nail and then secure it a little bit better with a bit more clear acrylic underneath. But then that is it. I hope you guys like this design. It's so musical and bright. And like I said, check for that violin. And here is a Melody Minutes. So this Melody Minutes is actually silent because it is sped up a little bit, but this is our little escape artist. So this was the first time she ever tried to climb out of her crib, and the first time she succeeded all at once. So there she goes. She just climbs right out. And then the next day we took and transformed it to a toddler bed. And as you can see, she was a total wiggle butt all night long. And this is a sped up version of basically what her entire night was. So she started out all over, and then all of a sudden about midnight, she gets out of bed and she starts just crawling around her room, and she's in and out of that chair all night long. Sometimes she's sleeping in the chair, and sometimes she was sleeping on the floor. There she goes, she's just rolling around the floor. And we didn't even know that she was doing any of this because it's like a security camera that was recording her while we were sleeping. And check it in the next morning, and it's like, hey, wait a minute. She was everywhere last night, and it was just such a surprise, and it just cracked us up so much. But she actually sleeps better now that she's in a toddler bed than she ever did in her crib. So that's a big surprise. I was so nervous. Oh, you have no idea. I was like, nope, I'm not. I can't do it. She has to be completely contained while she sleeps, or I'm not going to sleep. Well, I slept, and she sleeps now too. So that was good. And she does actually stay in her toddler bed. Just that first night, she was rolling all over the floor and everywhere but her bed. So yeah, I hope you guys like today's design. Thank you so much for watching. If you do decide to make a recreation, please tag me on Instagram or Facebook, because I'd love to see them, and I'll see you next time. Bye.